to another episode of Renaissance Broads.
Yay.
We getting fancy up in here today. Carolyn, I don't know about you, but I often find myself in situations where I know I'm going to be an embarrassment because I don't know enough about proper, serving.
See, and I thought you were totally going to mock me for bringing this up and wanting to learn more about etiquette and kind of maybe learn more about my bougie side.
As a token Virgo with a deeply rooted neurosis, in doing this research, I'm like, I will never, ever need this, but I'm so glad it's in my back pocket now, because now in that weird situation where I need it, I have it.
Yeah,
Is
you
my microphone on?
I can hear you in here.
I don't know. I don't think I sound good.
No,
but
you sound
okay.
lovely. Well, I know we were both just talking about this before we started, is what is the whole purpose of this? And I think Renaissance Broads, that's where we always have to come from, so that we're not just complete narcissist assholes, well, this is what we're going to talk about, and, fuck y'all. But
if you like it, great.
If you like it, we don't care, yeah. But I have, when I brought this up to a bunch of my girlfriends asking about, different things that we were going to be talking about, and I brought up the afternoon tea, I had so many people who were like, oh my God, I've always wanted to do that. Or, oh, I love afternoon tea, and that's what I do all the time with my grandmother. I wanted to get to a good stopping place.
All right, pull it out. The other way. Little technical difficulties here, folks.
Okay, that's
You
right.
gotta come on. You can
You
just grab the
microphones,
grab
and
the
that's
rod and
why
pull
I
it
sound
out.
bad. Because you stole my microphone.
I did not.
You
Here.
did. I was here. See how much better I sound.
Well, I didn't mean to swap
I
these
remember when you stole it. I watched you do it. Okay, so sorry.
That can all be edited
One,
out.
two.
Yeah, it sounds like
Honestly,
leaving
we
it
should
in.
just keep it there.
Fantastic.
Welcome to the
Okay, we're back.
perils of
Ooh, popping.
recording. So yes, this, like you said, this is what we're about. It's finding the things we don't know how to do, taking on that experience and sharing it with others, so they don't find themselves in that awful predicament where they don't know what they're doing.
Just in case you're at a fancy tea party and you don't know all of the rules, we are going to tell you all of the rules.
We have the rules.
And really, it's a good excuse to eat snacks.
I always want
I know.
snacks.
So good snacks.
And these are really fancy snacks. So
These are super fancy snacks.
And so easy. You brought these over. You were so kind to stop at Whole Foods for us. We whipped this together in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It was so easy. So if you have a last minute mother-in-law situation and you're like, oh my God, she's coming and I have to impress her, I think this is a fantastic setup.
Nothing says impression like let's have afternoon tea,
It really does. Now that you mention it, and I really hadn't given it quite that much thought, but what a wow impression this would make.
Well, I know when I was researching all of this stuff, I came across all this information about kind of what is elegance and what is the reason for us to have and still practice all of these rituals. Now, I love a ritual. This is part of my personality. I find comfort in kind of knowing what exactly it is that I'm supposed to be expected to do. I'm the person that walks into a new situation. I'm like, okay, where are we supposed to go? And what are we supposed to do? And where am I supposed to be? And how am I supposed to act? And I love the fact that I know the rules in advance.
Are you one of those people that gets anxiety about parking situations when you go to new places?
No, because I think even in new places with parking situations, I still know what I'm expected to do. You park your car.
Find a parking spot.
Find your parking spot. But I mean, if you're in a brand new experience, where, you've never been to a certain place or it's a whole big new group of people, I find comfort in knowing what it is, what the expectations are for that particular event. And so I find rituals like this and knowing kind of the rules ahead of time, I find it very comforting.
I get that.
And also, like, so much of this, like, all of these things that I'm writing about, this isn't about you either. This isn't about, like, showing off or being fancy. I think so many of these old world, kind of old school rituals are about showing the other person, showing your guest how much you care and respect them by saying, like, all of these stops that I put out, and this is how much I care about you. And especially if, you know, you're with a person whose love language is food. And drinks and service, because that's what this is. This is about...
It's an act of service.
It's service, and it's about showing love and appreciation through people, through rules, which there's a part of me that kind of likes that too. You know, that I like the order
Do you
of tea.
think traditions like this are in danger of kind of going extinct?
Oh, I totally think so. That's why I think... when I had mentioned to so many people about, like, you know, we're going to be talking about afternoon tea, every single person that I mentioned to it was so excited. Like, oh, I've always wanted to do that. Oh, I did that one time 10 years ago with my grandmother, you know, at a hotel. And so I think so many of these rituals and traditions just have such a special place in people's lives. But yeah, I think they are going by the wayside, which is why when we were originally looking, it was so difficult to get a reservation.
And to find these places.
And to find these places because fewer and fewer people are doing it. A couple of hotels that I found in the area that advertised several years ago that they did tea, then I would call for a reservation and, well, we don't do that anymore. You know, so that makes me sad that there are so few people. I mean, we're in the South, for God's sakes.
Nobody should really know how to do tea time better than us.
Yeah, exactly. It's besides the British, I think this is like should be the land of the tea service. But yeah, I mean, I went all the way to Greensboro so that I could do it.
And it was
with
so
my husband.
cute.
It was so lovely.
I'm so glad you took Hubs.
So lovely.
I am regrettably I couldn't go, but
he is definitely my ride or die. And so whenever I'm like, we're gonna do this, he's always like, all right, you know. So, which is great. The reason why we're together, but we'll definitely go to one. I'm interested to see what some of the other more local places do, because we went to a fancy. It was fancy, really fancy.
So I wanted to kind of wear a dress. Like I wanted to do a little more in terms of like my appearance. I'm like, how fancy we getting? But I mean, I was also getting ready for work.
I put on a fancy kimono.
You are
fancy. That's about as fancy as I could muster with all of the rest of the stuff going on in my day. But why don't we, I'm going to pour the tea.
Let's pour the tea.
And then we can talk about all of the different rules. Because, I mean, everything from where we have the plates placed to where you put your spoon to how you stir your tea to what order you eat off the tray and what is supposed to be on the tray. And everything has a purpose, which I find fascinating. And then we can talk about afternoon tea versus high tea, which is also fascinating. So why don't you talk about, because you know about like the pouring and all that stuff, right?
I do.
So you talk about that and I'm going to pour.
Perfect. So what probably my biggest takeaway from my research was how to hold the kettle. So we've got Carolyn pouring the tea. She's got one finger on, what's the top of it called? The fennel?
Yes.
The fennel. Because that part stays cool, and obviously the whole rest of the kettle is like boiling hot, full of hot tea. So this you can only do with only so much grace because you have this heavy kettle full of hot boiling tea. And another really big, I think, important piece of information so you don't end up making like a sloppy fool of yourself at tea time is where you fill it in the cup. So if you're one of those people who likes milk or other condiments in your tea, you don't want not enough room in the cup so that like, I don't have enough milk room. And also it's not so full when you stir it. It's sloshing over the sides. So
both Laura and I both like our tea black. So we will not be using, and so like The sugar bowl and the milk container are empty because
They have no place here.
yes, but I brought them upstairs anyway, just so that we could show. But that is what this guy, this little spoon, which I was so excited that you guys had these because I didn't bring spoons with me. With so little shout out to the Foley women in my house. This set of Wedgwood once belonged to Sylvia Foley, then to Rosemary Foley, then to Cecile Foley, and it was just recently passed to me. So
I'm honored to be drinking.
Super
from it.
excited. It's about 80 years old. I'm very excited about this little tea set. But I didn't want to bring the teapot that matched it because it's like super thin bone china, and I was like,
that's a big deal.
I'm not going to drive with it. So that's why we have the Christmas Spode, which is a little bit sturdier, but still it's British.
Yes.
And it's a teapot, so I figured it was appropriate.
Yeah.
But
totally
normally
works.
if you would have sugar or milk, you would use the sugar bowl, bringing it to you.
Yes.
And you would use your spoon to put in whatever you would want. If it's in sugar cubes, you use the little tongs. And then your milk. And do you remember how we're supposed to stir?
I do remember
tea?
how we're supposed to stir. For the love of God, do not create a whirlpool. And do not clink your silverware against the china. So you put your spoon in, north to south.
Just dragging it back and forth.
North to south, back and forth. 6 times.
And then we don't tap.
For the love of God, do not tap the china with your spoon.
I think we need to get that stitched on a pillow. For the love
For
of
the love of
For
God.
the love of God, don't tap.
And all things holy,
Don't tap.
do not tap your teaspoon on the china.
And the one thing that I never knew that I've been doing wrong my entire life is how you hold a teacup.
That one blew
my
my
mind.
mind.
I know.
Easily my biggest takeaway.
I was a hooker because that's how I hold a coffee cup.
Yes.
That is not how you're supposed to hold a teacup.
So let's talk about the
Yeah.
difference between a coffee cup and a teacup, because
For
I'm
sure.
like, these are very obvious differences, but it never crossed my mind to give it any conscious thought whatsoever.
Totally.
The handles of the teacups are so small. Coffee mugs are huge. We as Americans drink coffee by the gallon. So we need a large cylindrical cup with a sturdy handle to accommodate that much coffee in one vessel. And then when we're being polite people, nice, courteous, proper Americans, we have our precious little china cups here with their precious tiny, tiny handles here. I wanted to practice this.
Did you?
No, my coffee mug, my travel mug has no handle, so I could not practice. Now
Laura and I both watched a little etiquette class from the lady, and of course I can't remember her name because we're going to have to give her credit. But she is essentially the etiquette and tea etiquette person or liaison or whatever it is her official title is. Yes,
truly.
at the Plaza in New York. And she was trained in London with essentially the staff who, does the tea service for the Queen. So, she knows what she's talking about. So
that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, kind of a big deal. So, yes, you pinch. I'm holding the cup wrong. I'm just going to show you. With your little fingertips here and pinch inside the teacup thing. And then take your middle finger to rest underneath so that you have this. And she said if you're feeling unsteady, you put just the 2 fingers underneath the cup so that you can bring it to your lips until you're feeling steady enough to do this and take a sip.
Oh my God, and that's like really good tea.
That tea is really good.
That came from the Yellow House in Clayton, from their little gift shop with all those cute little teas in there.
And no longer doing a full tea service at the Yellow House.
Ugh.
Bastards.
Well, you can buy some great tea from them. Wow, that is good.
That's wonderful. And what do we do with the saucer?
The saucer stays the fuck on the table.
It stays the fuck down. Leave the goddamn saucer alone. Unless you're walking around and it's like a standing tea party, which that to me, I would be so like that just smells like it's trouble. Like I'd be spilling shit all over myself. You know, you're in your little cute little shift dress, possibly a small cardigan, maybe a little fastener, I'm imagining. And I would just be rattling tea and I'd be covered in tea. I need to remain seated because there's only so many things I can think about at one time. I'm like, okay, pinch and lean on the finger and the thing. And if I have to add this shenanigans to it, no.
It feels like a lot.
It does. So I think I'm always going to be a tea sitter.
Especially if you're in beginner tea status where you're still learning to get a grip on the teacup.
For sure.
In the pinch around the handle. Not having the safety net of my fingertips underneath.
I know, but like having to hold the saucer, I know. Forget about it. So much. But this, they just said, like, don't grip like I do with coffee all the time. I mean, I hold a coffee cup like this, like this, like this. And I also, from doing my deep dive, because of course I went down the rabbit hole with all this etiquette stuff, I've been holding a wine glass wrong and a beer glass wrong. And pretty much like everything just wrong. I do everything wrong. That's what I discovered. But now I do know how to hold a teacup. And luckily these tiny, tiny little handles, this is like uncomfortable.
Yes.
So it's kind of like almost like forces you to do it correctly. And there is no need for the pinky out.
Tell us why we ever thought we needed a pinky out.
But I think probably some people, the one video that I sent you, I know they talked about that like in like olden times when people would walk around, this was almost like a sense of balance. But we don't need to do this anymore.
Exactly.
And I watched several other videos. That was the first thing they said. Keep your pinkies
to your fucking self.
Keep them tucked, ladies. We don't need. And gentlemen, no need for the pinkies.
I just I want to know because in the one video she was like, people think this is proper. It's the opposite, and I'm like,
yeah, it's like vulgar.
Is this like a tea middle finger?
I guess so. That would be curious. I know this kind of maybe in other countries is considered vulgar. I don't know. I could be making that up. That could be a fever dream. I don't know.
But no, that does no. I don't think that's a fever dream.
That maybe it's like a respect kind of thing, or you know, maybe one like weird French person did it, and so then people started imitating it, or you know.
Look at Jacques.
Look
with his fucking pinky out.
Crazy frog
Cretin.
over there. Cheers to you.
Cheers. This is lovely. This is a blend of rooibos.
So I have some information on your pinky
Did
out.
you look up the pinky thing?
I did. So many etiquette experts frown upon extending the pinky finger while drinking and deem it a sign of pretentiousness. According to the 2010
so it is a
study,
rude thing.
exclusion of the pinky finger reduces grip strength by 33%.
Wow.
So that's what it's. So again, we're taking care of the china, which I appreciate.
Yes.
Because again, grandma's china, so we got to make sure that we're taking care of the Wedgwood. So let's talk about the food. So with the 3-tiered tray, this is very traditional for tea, but in several of the etiquette places that I read about, going on a deep dive, this is not necessary. This isn't like you can have a tea without having the 3-tiered tray.
This says,
but since I'm bougie and I own 3 of these,
I mean, you gotta.
I had to bring it, and it does make it easier because you go in order.
Yeah.
So we start at the bottom with savory, then you move to scones or biscuits. This is actual clotted cream, because again, bougie. And then you have the desserts at the top.
This says to me, it's like charcuterie before charcuterie was charcuterie. Everything all in one place that's like presented cutely and neatly and navigatable.
Yes.
And what I appreciate about this more than a charcuterie is it takes up a lot less space. So if we're at our tea table and we have a saucer that must stay on the table. We have our snack plate, which stays right there. We have an additional plate for, etc. Lemon rinds or, tea bag papers.
There's a tea bag, your used spoon, it's your discard plate.
The discard plate. And then we're competing with the teapot and the cream and the sugar. This 3-tiered thing I think is a real space saver.
Yeah,
I'm a fan.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's bring this back.
Yeah, they're fun.
So what kind of goodies did you bring us?
So I got just some little breads, which little Christini's went to the La Farm bakery. If any of you guys are local and you've never been to La Farm, go to La Farm. And there is Laura is vegan. So all of these are vegan except for the clotted cream. I know. I don't know. I don't find it as gross as you, but I get it because the word clotted.
The word clotted.
The word clotted definitely has some connotations, doesn't it? Yeah.
Can you just call it cream, please?
Sure. Hard cream.
Oh, God, that's
Is that
worse.
Basically, or I can just even say fancy butter, because that's basically what it is.
English butter.
Because it's hard, like it's hard like butter. It's not like yeah. It's kind of like a softer butter, but it's not like pourable like a cream.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean we could talk about the bacterial process of what makes a clotted cream, but I feel like that would make it worse. So we're not gonna go there. But so we have, this is vegan cheese, which is like, I think it was a garlic spread, like garlic and something, vegan cheese with cucumbers, and then we have a little avocado on some crostinis. These are vegan blueberry scones. This is edible vegan cookie dough, and I believe it's birthday cake with chocolate.
That's fine.
Around it. And then this is chocolate chip and oat cheesecake. So the desserts can be anything. And I used to go to tea when I was living in England, because again, bougie. I spent 1997 doing an internship and living in London. And tea was like a really, really inexpensive way to get a whole lot of food.
Okay.
So my broke friends and we would hit up all of the kind of touristy teas all the time because it was just like nonstop little finger sandwiches and scones and macaroons and all of this good stuff. And you like throwback tea, and it was like at the time, because this was a million years ago. I mean, because we'd go in like a sizable group, it was like under 10 pounds a person. I'm going to pass that to you. It was great. So I ate, and so the desserts were always different. Like I said, little cookies, little pieces of cake, little lava cakes, little cupcakes, it was always different. But they always had scones or biscuits in the center section. And there was always little sandwiches, and there was always cucumbers. Those were the things that were the constant in England. So I tried to recreate that.
Well, it's here.
With what I got.
The pudding.
The pudding, exactly.
Which I know you've seen English pudding. It's not what we think pudding is.
Yes, I love a sticky toffee pudding.
States.
So, and also too, it is not impolite to use your hands.
Okay.
In fact, it is encouraged. All of this is supposed to be finger foods except for, now a lot of times with the scones you would have a clotted cream and a jelly or jam. And since neither of us were going to be eating the jelly or jam, I was like, I'm not going to bother with it. But that would be traditional as well, to have it like a little jam to go with your scone or your biscuit.
That was the thing I could not find, was what is the polite way of acquiring the food.
Yeah, you just take it. Like I said, we just go kind of one at a time. So we eat all of the savory, and then now we're not going to eat all that, but
I mean,
we might, yeah.
I don't know.
And then you move on to the second tier, and then this is the last.
Right.
And this is supposed to be like a kind of lingering process. We're having conversation, we're drinking tea, you're socializing. This isn't like, we need to eat all of this in 10 minutes.
This isn't like, let's meet for a coffee. You know, this is quality time that you're spending with the people you're having tea with.
It's
It
an
is
event.
designed, yes, to spend time doing it. So I think that's cute. That's very what's the word I'm looking for? Valuable.
Totally. And the difference, which I did not know this, there is a difference between afternoon tea and high tea. And high tea is a heavy, heavy meal, usually served kind of in the early evening. And it was the time they actually would give it to like workers and farmers. They would bring them in, it's kind of like into the manor house, be like, thanks for a hard day's work, boys, or people coming in off of boats after fishing and stuff. And you would get your tea, and then you would get all of kind of, like a big meal, like a soup, and usually like a protein and all of this stuff, not served on trays, but served with like a huge meal. To then they would go home to their families. So I've been to a high tea as well. My friend Shannon and I wandered into a high tea. It was called a high tea. And we thought that we were just doing it wrong when we got high tea, and they like brought, I had like a chicken breast and like all of this other stuff.
Oh my God.
And at the time, I mean, I was in my 20s. We were just like, okay, maybe this is another thing.
Right.
We're like, where are the little tea cakes and
This isn't the delicate.
where are the petitfours and the little cucumber sandwiches? So I, ate my chicken, and then we get our bill. I'm like, that was expensive.
That's not what we thought.
Yeah,
we
but
were
so
getting.
there is a difference between afternoon tea and high tea. This is obviously, it's in the evening now. This is too late for afternoon tea, but it's okay.
But this is an herbal tea blend, so we will not be up all night. Allegedly. But yeah.
And I should have gotten softer bread. This is going to be loud.
Crunch.
I'm gonna take a bite. I'm going to go over here. Sorry.
I did not mean to find that as
I did not think about that when I bought these. Well, this isn't good podcast food.
And these microphones pick up. If we took a bite of this downstairs in the kitchen, scratch that, in the garage, we'd still hear the faint crumbling of a biscuit.
It's really good. That's obnoxious. Well,
In the podcast description, we're just going to be like, listen to Lauren, Carol, and Chew for 5 or 6 minutes. And
well, there are some people that like that.
here are our Venmos. But this avocado is so good.
And then we can, show pictures of our feet and move into the fetish. Well, one thing that I did find out too is, how about it? British tea, which we are doing, is not super far off from the Asian afternoon tea. A lot of very similar rules. Obviously, they're not doing the pinch and the finger teacup thing, but I mean, as far as like very similar times, you have the food, you have the thing that's like the dim sum, where you have someone that comes around with like little bites and little plates that you get to pick from. And I was just like, we could have even done an Asian-inspired tea too, where like that's the cups without the handles.
Yeah.
And we serve the tea. And usually what happens is then there always has to be the big difference I saw with Asian tea and British tea service. Only one person can serve the tea with an Asian tea, where you and I can pop back and forth and
Okay.
pour. Like, it doesn't always have to be the host that pours. But one of the things, now again, correct me if I'm wrong, this is just the stuff that I read. In like a Japanese tea service, there would be the host, and it would be considered rude if like somebody was serving us tea and I like, okay, I need more tea, and I'd pour that. No. So that would be,
my God.
that would be the big no-no, is that if we were doing a Japanese tea.
Again, forgive me if I'm wrong. I feel like it's usually a daughter figure who pours the tea. Someone, I guess, a little more subservient in the household is the tea pourer in, I think, Chinese cultures. So,
But yes, it's just the one. So if you have people over for tea, you're going to have like, the DTS, the designated tea service, the person who's pouring. This is a really good avocado.
that's like really good avocado, and the Himalayan salt just like really set it off. And I'm like, I need another. But then I'm also like,
Crunchy.
so crunchy. I made a just a quick side note. I made vegan chocolate chip cookies for the Super Bowl the other day. The cookie dough was like to die for. So good. I could eat like the whole bowl just raw, which you can do, by the way. PSA, if you're tired of people telling you how to live your life, you can in fact eat raw cookie dough that's vegan, because the things that give you salmonella
Are the eggs.
are not in vegan cookie dough. Delicious. However, unfortunately, somewhere between this delicious cookie dough and the baking process, they were still delicious. They were just kind of flat and very crunchy. What did you call them? My cookies?
What?
You gave my cookies a very kind name. Throwing stars?
Oh yeah, Ninja Stars.
Ninja stars? Yep.
Killer.
Saw blades?
Deadly throws.
He talked a lot of shit, but still ate all the cookies.
Well, in our etiquette rules, that would have been a big no-no. If there is something that you don't like, perfect segue. You must never, ever, ever spit out any food.
Oh, no.
Yes. So if there's something you don't like, you can't do like the whole like into your napkin kind of thing. All the etiquette rules that I read were basically like, suck it up and swallow it. You're going to be fine.
That's what a lot of women, never mind.
Shut up.
Of course he went there. That's what she said. But
I was trying to be proper.
indeed, we're talking about etiquette. But that is one thing that I would love to see, if, like with somebody who like really didn't like something, if they were like trying to like get it down. That would be hilarious.
How bad can like afternoon tea snackies get?
I would think so. And that's actually the host's job, is to make sure that all of your guests are comfortable and that they have everything you need. So you would then ask people about dietary restrictions or about allergies or, something that they really, really didn't like. And also, most of the time, tea food is going to be comforting, familiar. It's not like there's going to be like a big pile of like tripe or something sitting on the plate.
What is tripe?
It is intestines that are cleaned out and then generally like fried or sauteed and served and like
What is
different dishes.
wrong with humans? Like, why do we...
Like a big plate of haggis. So
I know what haggis
you know what haggis is.
So, I truly cannot tell you the last time. I can tell you the last time I spit something out. But it was only because I learned there was a meat product in it. So it was a potato croquette. And there were no ingredients listed. So I'm like, there might be some, like, butter in there, but, like, I won't die. I took a big old bite, and I'm like, something's a little chewy in here.
Yeah, probably like pieces of pancetta or something or
Bacon.
Bacon. Yep.
And, I spit that out as fast as I could. Of course, like, some of it came down, and I'm like, okay, am I going to die? Regrettably, I didn't. But, yeah, that was... I feel like there are certain things, you know, if my host gave me a product, knowing full well I'm vegan, and, you know, maybe, like, honest mistake sort of thing, but, like, not mentioning, here, have a potato croquette, and I eat it, it's in my mouth, and I realize there's an animal in it, it's coming right out, and I don't care how rude it is.
And I think that would actually be okay because, again, it's the host's job to make sure that I read every ingredient on all of these things to make sure that they were, in fact, vegan, even though they had the vegan sticker on them.
You just can't be too sure.
I scan my little labels out just to make sure that I have everything because, as kind of like the food host, I didn't provide the tea. I wanted to make sure that Laura was happy as my guest.
Thank you.
But that leads kind of like to other, you know, we were talking about etiquette, things that have kind of like gone by the wayside and maybe things that we miss. And I know that I drive my children crazy with thank you notes. That is my favorite form of etiquette, is I believe that people, you know, especially when given a gift or if something wonderful has happened to you, maybe even an interview for a job, that you should write a thank you note. And I drive my boys crazy where I'm like, did you write that thank you note? You got such and such for graduation. Write that thank you note. And I don't think people are doing that anymore. And there's times when I feel guilty, like I haven't sent a Christmas card and I don't know how long.
I'm terrible at cards.
I feel so bad about it. Like every year I'll get like from my mom, like, you guys gonna do a card? I'm like, no. No, it's just, I'll make a digital card and I'll post it.
That's cute.
For people. But, you know, that's an etiquette thing that, you know, I think has fallen by the wayside. You know, a good save the date or a good, you know, calling card, that kind of thing. I love that.
What's a calling card?
As I take
to
a bite
your point. Yes.
of my scrum. In days of yore, which is just a great word, if you were going to pay a visit to someone, you would send your man, your person, your servant, ahead with essentially a little card with just your name on it and drop it off at that person's house in the afternoon, because there'd be a time that was socially acceptable for one to go pay a visit to people. And then your card would be dropped off, and then the household would know, Carolyn is coming to visit us later today, because it would just be a little card with my name on it, your calling card, because I was going to become calling later.
That is so extra.
It's super extra. And I think, because I'm, you know, so much older than you, there were calling cards that were still part of graduation.
Yeah.
Did you have those too? Those like little cards?
I didn't get it.
And that's what it is. It's a calling card that then you could kind of essentially like send to people to let them know that you've graduated or that you're going to be stopping by or that, and you could like trade them with your friends and stuff. It was like your baseball card.
I would be so goddamn creeped out.
I still have a bunch of them from my friends. Like I found a photo album with like a bunch of these little cards with their names on it.
If I just opened my door to a card with just someone's name on it. Excuse me.
It's like what serial killers do now. Like,
yeah,
I'm coming for you.
No, really. Like that would be immediately where my brain would go. Is like, cool, I will get murdered by, you know, John Smith. I don't see a time here, so I'll just that's inconvenient. If you're going to leave me a calling card, could you at least leave me an ETA as well?
Well, I think now it's like associated with serial killers where they say like, ooh, that's his calling card. That's like the thing that someone is known for.
What is it? Motive operandi?
Like the thing that you leave behind when you are, you know, like serial killers and stuff. They have like a thing.
We're not really selling the calling cards here.
No. And again, they're completely pointless now.
Because I'm like, hey, I'm on my way. I'm texting, send.
But just think kind of like within social media, so many things now I think could be also used as a calling card. Everybody's playing Wordle. And they leave that little message on your wall. Such and such. I have never played Wordle, so I actually don't understand anything that I'm talking about.
No.
I have not played.
Ugh.
I'm so afraid that I'm gonna get like sucked in.
And
I know it's just one little puzzle a day. I get that, but I think that's a calling card. That like throughout the day, dozens and dozens of my friends will just like Wordle in a little box with the colors and the numbers. I don't know what it means, but that is certainly their calling card that they have left for me. Be like, oh, I see that Lisa is on right now.
Did you?
And she was playing Wordle. That's her calling card. Perhaps we get to visit later. Since she is on the Facebooks.
I read a story about someone's like 80-year-old mother didn't send her daughter her Wordle score for the day. So the daughter called for a welfare check.
For a welfare check?
Yes.
And was the mom okay?
The mom was like unconscious. I don't know if she had like fallen, gone into like cardiac arrest.
It is a calling card.
The mom was like not well. So like emergency response showed up. They revived her. Mom is fine now. But that is exactly what comes to mind when you use the Wordle example as a calling card.
Well, calling cards a lot of times could be used for people. So many people traveled. And when you got home, you know, you were at the country estate. And when you arrived back in the city, you had to let people know, hey, I'm here. And this wasn't like a time that you could like, you know, send everybody the group text. Be like, hey, bitches, I'm back.
In your city.
Yeah. Where you at? So you would send out a person to like drop off your cards at all of your friends' house so that they'd be like, oh, hey, that serial killer friend that we have.
The chiming in our headsets right now is Michael's calling card.
I guess so. Try a scone. They are a delight. And I know the clotted cream, it tastes like frosting.
What? Oh, is it good luck that I finished up the tea?
I think it's perfect. Yes, we have our last cup. But yeah, the clotted cream is a delight.
Please stop calling it that.
It's right up there. My pet peeve word is yummy.
Really?
I hate that word more than anything in the world. And I see people post about it, be like, went over to this restaurant to get some really yummy food. I'm like, ugh, it's nails on a chalkboard to me. I don't know why. I hate
Yummy?
the word yummy makes my skin crawl. Right up there with moist. And panties. I've never been a fan of that word either.
Oh, see, there's no other word for undergarments for me unless it's undergarments or it's panties.
Mm-hmm.
I am talking about like everyone's undergarments when I say panties.
Oh, sure.
Panties are not just for women.
Okay.
Men wear panties.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that initial layer beneath your outer garb
Sure.
on your lower half,
Okay.
panties.
Well, yummy is my no word. I just feel it's right up there with literally, which I feel is like so overused. And as an English teacher, I'm like, you can literally stop saying that anytime now. And everybody describing stuff as yummy. It's yummy. We made a yummy dinner last night. It was so yummy. Oh my God, it's so yummy. I love this yummy food. This coffee was yummy. Blech.
I guess I do, I get that, where, like, there's so many better words to describe your culinary experience.
Certainly.
Like, decadent, umami, like, what's some more? Satiating. Like, there's so many better words out there.
Satiating. It's a fantastic word.
Thank you. I am satiated after this afternoon tea.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many better words than yummy. So, I guess I feel that. I get that.
Yeah, no, not a fan of the word yummy.
I think I use it more, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, man, what is the word I'm looking for? Where I'm like, I don't really mean it, like, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm just like, ooh, yummy. And then, like, that's it. And then I carry on.
I think the use of the word yummy as maybe ironic is using it ironically.
Thank you. That
I
was
think-
the word I was looking for.
I think that's perfectly acceptable, and I will take that ironic yummy and tip my teacup to you.
Toast to the ironic yummy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like if someone's describing like a horrible event, like, I don't know, they tasted something terrible or they're describing something terrible, I'm like, ooh, yummy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one is perfectly acceptable
Perfect.
because it's a stupid word, and so
It should only be used in
use-
stupid context.
to use it to describe something horrible or stupid, I think is perfectly acceptable. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, any other etiquette things that you discovered that you found that maybe you needed to know some more about? Or was I the only one? I think I was the only one who went on the deep dive.
You went on the deep dive, but the good thing about that is that left some questions like unanswered for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, like napkins, where are they?
Napkins are supposed to be on your lap.
Mm-hmm.
We certainly don't need to be like tucking them in like we're at, like a low country boil or at the rib shack. And generally they should be cloth. I was going to bring cloth napkins, and frankly, I forgot. What you going to do?
So I think this was a lovely, very casual exercise, and something that I think was kind of intimidating for me was like how elegant and how delicate it can be for sure. But this totally outlines how like easy and fun and delicious and casual it could be as well.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm saying is bring back afternoon teas. We need to make this a regular thing.
Yeah. I mean, because this needs to go the way of like other European stuff too, like where maybe you can come in and take you have your afternoon tea and then you take a nap.
Oh God, yes, bring back siestas.
Where like super long lingering lunches where there's like a glass of wine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That
That's so Italian.
all of these old rituals and like, where it, and maybe without the calling cards, but just like I love the fact of like having people, you're going to get visitors, or that people are going to like have to check in with you or send a little note, even if it's on social media. I am down with that.
I think it's definitely a comment on American society is so rushed. Nothing is really, truly like valued and appreciated. I don't even take lunch breaks. It's just go, go, go until it's time to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with coffee. You don't take coffee breaks anymore. You go to Starbucks and you drink the coffee on the way to the next task.
The next thing. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So this is, I I think, a wonderful reminder to have those long, drawn out, delicious, whatever it is, coffee breaks, tea times, lunch breaks. Have those breaks for yourself.
Totally, because it shows us all that, we care about each other.
Exactly.
Which is nice.
Have you over for an extended lunch break.
For sure.
Well, this is great. Thank you so much for your contribution. The snackies
totally.
were delightful.
And the tea was so wonderful.
That tea is so good.
Hold it with my 2 fingers.
This was my first time trying this tea, and we got to talk last thing here. The direction the handle is in.
Yes,
we
I forgot
so
about
never
that one.
touched on. So when you're looking down at your teacup, the handle should be in the 3 o'clock position.
Right, if you are right-handed.
If you are right-handed.
Yes, Patrick and I talked about that. My husband is left-handed. So when we went to tea together, we did actually position our cups that he put his cup at 9 because he is left-handed. He's a lefty. So we did do that. And we're supposed I was using my spoon for my clotted cream. But you are supposed to keep it on the saucer for that collecting of the drips and everything.
Pretty much nothing goes on the table except for the things that essentially belong there. The goddamn fucking saucer, for one.
Keep it on the table.
And then, like, the plates, you shouldn't be really lifting anything, but, anything that's used or to be discarded goes on a plate and not on the table.
Oh, do you remember the rule that you talked about with the tea bag and how you rip it?
Yeah.
That you don't want to take completely off because you don't want to create extra rubbish. So you just leave the little tail on the end. And I'm like, that's super fancy.
And it makes perfect sense to me. But, there's me, the fucking savage that I am, just ripping those bags open. And this was an actual loose leaf tea that I brewed. So fresh. But there are ways of delicately and elegantly steeping your tea bags in an elegant tea time
for sure
environment. So, but I'd say go loose leaf. It's just tastes
Do you
better.
have a strainer? Or did you just pour it right in the pot?
The kettle that I have has a strainer kind of like basket. I don't want to say like built in, but yeah, you just rest it inside. You pop your little tea leaves in there.
Nice.
And it's a great little piece. It's from World Market.
Love that.
Yeah, it's very World Market, but it was a great price, and I was like really in a tea phase, so I wanted that strainer in it.
I feel ya.
But yeah, definitely take the time, do your research, and don't even stress on getting it right. As long as you're with the people that you love and you want to show them a really nice time, go for afternoon tea.
For sure. And there are several places, if you're local to us, that we could probably put on here where you can get afternoon tea, like at the Umstead Hotel, at the Carolina Inn on Chapel Hills campus. And as well, there is the Sugar Magnolia in Wake Forest, which is where I believe Laura and I will be heading to go try out their afternoon tea because their menu looked good. I am really looking forward to that.
And who doesn't want to go somewhere called the Sugar Magnolia? I need a petticoat just to attend, I feel like.
Maybe we can wear gingham. Maybe there can be like some bows attached to it. We can have it as like our tea coming out.
We'll just go full derby on this.
Oh, yes, let's wear hats.
Oh my God.
Yes.
We just went from like so excited to have afternoon tea. Now it's a fucking production.
It is. So, well, all of these tea places do also like serve champagne and prosecco with their tea. So you can like really live it up. Patrick and I had prosecco at the O. Henry. So yeah, we had tea at the O. Henry Hotel in Greensboro, and it was a delight. It was in this like wood paneled lobby room, and we sat in wingback chairs, and everybody was super fancy. It was great. It was precious.
I love that. And, definitely, I guess my last little piece of advice is, don't be afraid to dress up for those occasions either. No one
course not.
dresses up to go do simple things anymore. There was a time where you really put on your best to go to the movies. You
to fly in an airplane.
Yes. Bring it back, I say, even though I'm, fully prepared to wear a pink velour tracksuit on my flight to San Antonio.
Oh, you have to get the juicy suit. You have to.
Target finally they had the full pink set, the jacket and the pants, and then they had the black velour jacket but not the pants in yet, and I'm like, I have to have the black. The pink is super cute. It's really not me though, so I'm just waiting for, they put out a run of mediums, and I'm like, okay, I'll just wait for the rest of the sizes to come in. I've had to wait this long.
Then you need to get broads tattooed across your ass in gold on the black suit.
Oh my God.
We could get matching ones. I mean, I'm just saying, with broads.
Oh my God, I'm doing it.
Yeah, I think that needs to happen.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Renaissance Broads. On our next episode, we are going starkly different from tonight, and we're going to be talking about booze.
All the booze.
Booze!
Where it comes from, who makes it, the process of making it. And I think more importantly, too, is
how it tastes.
Well, how it tastes, and how women can be involved in the process in this very, man-driven industry of making the beer and the wine.
And that's what we're about, shattering male-dominated environments.
Breaking glass ceilings with bottles of Merlot.
And also just, drinking a lot.
Drinking a whole lot. We've already started researching it, so...
And, I'm always down for more research.
Y'all should seriously change the name to the Drinking Broads.
The Drinking Broads, yes.
No, because that sounds like it is directly, God, why are words so hard? Plagiarizing the Drinking Bros. And I don't want them thinking I'm trying to copy them.
For sure.
I think you'll be fine.
No, we are the Renaissance Broads.
Renaissance Broads,
and we like drinking. Like anyone from the Renaissance did.
Exactly. They had a lot of wine. Laying on couches, drinking wine.
Tits out.
Yes, that sounds divine.
All right, we're getting out of here. Goodbye, y'all. See you next time.
Us. Bye.